Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode. It is a podcast series where every week I invite a special guest who has an amazing journey and who has an amazing story. Because I personally believe that each one of us has our own journey and each one of us has our learnings out of it. However, when I get to speak to those people, I talk to them, I get to learn so much. Then I thought, why not bring it to the larger audience? And that is the reason I have initiated this podcast series on YouTube. And if you have not checked out previous videos, I would request you to check the link in the description box. And with that, let us get started. So today I have a very special guest, Mr. Mehernosh. He is one of India's leading coach, and I would introduce him. I would request him to do his own introduction. So Mehernosh, very warm welcome to the show, and request you to.
Thank you, Mina. Minu, sorry. Thank you, Minu.
Yes, please.
Firstly, so wonderful job that you're doing. I've seen your earlier episodes as well. And it's great that you are bringing the right kind of messages to people through the form of this Growth Stories platform. And thank you for having me here. I'm
Thank
really
you.
honored to be here on your platform.
We are very, very excited to hear. And in fact, I'm excited about all the learnings which are going to come across during our conversation. So, Manoj, would you share a bit of what exactly do you do now?
Sure. So I'm known as India's first and only W3 coach, where W3 stands for Wealth, Wisdom, and Wellness. And I will share about my journey also, what brought me to coaching as well. We'll talk about all of that. The main thing is that the tools that I've learned and which I impart to people and help people to succeed, the tools are plenty and there are a lot of many tools, right? The thing is that for what purpose are you applying those tools? Of course, purpose needs to be clear. And there can be, I've seen people who are looking at one specific area of their life and they're so driven into that sometimes the other areas get missed out. And W3 is all about managing the balance between the tan, man, and dhan, the wealth, wisdom, and wellness in your
Very
life.
interesting, this one, abbreviation.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So there are a lot of tools and techniques which I cover. I also conduct training programs around that for people who want to do self development and self evolution. There are plenty of tools which I share, and also I conduct one-on-one coaching and mentoring as well to help people to achieve their success in the 3 Ws of life.
Awesome, awesome. I'm so excited to have that conversation, especially about those three, as you said, तन मन धन, क्योंकि हम कोई भी काम करते हैं तो लोग कहते हैं अगर अपना तुम तन मन धन लगा दो तो ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है जो तुम नहीं कर सकते या what you cannot achieve. So we would definitely talk about that. However, before going forward, I would like to know your earlier childhood journey. How was it? So where were you born and how was your childhood?
So I was born in Mumbai. Rather, I would say I was born in Bombay, brought up in Mumbai. Because
Yes.
change हो गया था.
Right, right.
So I'm still in Mumbai itself, and I was in my childhood I was a bit more kind of reserved, not just reserved. I used to stammer and stutter and all, and the biggest fear I had in childhood was speaking to people. Not just childhood, till I would say till college days as well. And public speaking से तो मेरा दूर दूर से कोई रास्ता नहीं था. I would like stay away from it. And कभी कोई college presentation देने को बोला तो like I would really shiver and jitter over it.
और आज आप वही कुछ कर रहे हैं. You are talking to
अभी वही कर
people,
रहा
you are
हूँ.
doing the presentation. It's just the opposite of.
Exactly, just the opposite. In fact, my college friends, my school friends often wonder that it's surprising that I'm over here.
Yes.
And that is what I consider to be one of my personal victories, using the tools and techniques which I share with people today. So one of the key tools that have helped me is the power of NLP, the Neuro-Linguistic Programming. about understanding your own conscious, subconscious patterns, overcoming that, all of that.
Mhm.
So I am basically by education qualification, I am a chartered accountant.
Oh,
And again, what drove my decision to become a CA, even that's very interesting.
yes, I would like to know more.
Because when I completed my BCom, I had two options in front of me, either do CA or do MBA.
Mhm.
Baki bhi the, but I was evaluating one of these two.
Mhm.
And the choice got driven because the idea which came to me about doing an MBA was presentations and doing with people. तो मैं बोला भाई ये मेरे बस की बात नहीं है. CA अच्छा, भले पढ़ाई कर लेंगे,
Mhm.
we'll complete the studies and I'll do my own stuff. People don't need to know that I exist also.
Mhm.
So वो mentality से I chose this field of CA.
Mhm.
And I started with my articleship with Lovelock and Lewis, PricewaterhouseCoopers. And तभी my work started speaking for itself.
Mhm.
And no matter how much I could avoid, I would try to avoid the limelight and the spotlight.
Mhm.
I was driven over there because people wanted to work with me more, interact with me more. And after my CA, I joined the corporate, a multinational company,
Mhm.
a Fortune 500 company, as a finance head of the company. And that time, presentations and also by karna hi tha. Ultimately, I had to interact with people, with my bosses, with the shareholders. Being a finance head, that was part and parcel of the job. So that fear, that nervousness, that anxiety was still there.
Mhm.
Till I figured out that you need to face your fears.
डर के आगे जीत है. I personally believe in that. You have to face the fear to get over it.
So then I applied a lot of tools and techniques to work on it, worked on myself.
Mhm.
And again, as my work kept speaking for itself as well,
Mhm.
it required me to speak for me as well.
Mhm.
So I could not run away from speaking opportunities. And that's been the story, the starting of the story of my journey.
Okay, तो मैं आपको we'll do back and forth in your journey from earlier days
Yeah.
until now. I hope that you.
Yes, yes.
You said you were born in Mumbai, then आपकी early education was in Mumbai until +2?
All the way in Mumbai. Yeah, yeah.
And you said you were a very introvert kind of child and
Yeah.
just being with yourself and having that fear of not speaking to people or just be
Yeah.
with yourself. So,
I was born in a very protective environment. My parents,
हाँ.
of course, they cared for me a lot. So there was a lot of protective environment there.
कितने भाई बहन थे आप?
I have two sisters.
And you, which number are you at?
I'm the eldest.
Eldest.
Yeah.
ओके ओके तो कैसा रहा दो बहनों के साथ बड़े होना?
Good, good. It's always uh, a privilege to have two sisters. So that is good.
बड़े भाई का फर्ज निभाओ, बहनों की रक्षा करो. ओके
and
तो हाँ
and much more bonding with parents and
हम्म.
sisters, all that was there. Yeah.
आपके पेरेंट्स क्या करते थे?
My father is a banker.
हाँ इसीलिए सीए चूज किया.
ये PA का वो एक इंक्लिनेशन था भी, but as I said, the clear cut reason was to avoid presentations and speaking opportunities.
तो अगर आपके फादर बैंकिंग में थे तो आई बिलीव यू मस्ट बी गेटिंग ट्रांसफर्ड आल्सो ऑफन.
No, no, no. He had a fairly stable banking job.
ओके ओके ऑलराइट. तो अंटिल +2 यू वर इन मुंबई.
Throughout, I was in Mumbai. Even till my CA, I did my Mumbai.
ओके
Even my CA, I did from Mumbai.
ओके
And then after completing CA, I was deputed on an assignment to Gulf.
ओके.
So I was for 1 year in the Gulf. And that was the first time I was away from family, away from the protective environment on my own. And Tabi, in fact, that was one of the turning points in my life. Where I got to, come what may, had to interact with more people and new people and strangers and even try to talk to them in their own ways of working.
तो आपने जब सीए का प्लस टू किया तो द ओनली थॉट वाज कि कुछ ऐसा करना है जहाँ पे लोगों से इंटरेक्शन कम हो, और वाज देयर एनी अदर थॉट प्रोसेस
नहीं
लाइक?
नहीं mainly वही था,
वही था।
because वो फियर बहुत ज्यादा था तभी। Although I was good in my studies, so at least that helped.
हाँ
So इसके
हाँ।
लिए my CA exams I was able to clear in the first attempt all through.
हम्म।
And so academic, since I was not too much working with or talking to people, interacting with many friends, I didn't have too many friends then. तो
हम्म।
सारा ध्यान attention पढ़ाई में ही था. So
हाँ
academically I had a good track record as well.
हाँ, फर्स्ट टाइम में क्रैक किया तो ऑब्वियसली यू वर लाइक अ ब्रिलियंट स्टूडेंट। तो आई वांट टू आई मीन dwell into your mind a little bit of that journey when you got that assignment for going to Gulf, because for somebody who is an introvert going to another country and
Yeah,
that to a बहुत protective environment में से, as you said, it must
yeah,
have been a very difficult probably, or a bit challenging, I would say. So
yeah,
would you like to talk about it a little?
yeah. So when I was nominated, I felt I had a mixed emotional response. One was I was happy कि अच्छा I was the one who got chosen for that assignment.
हाँ.
It was one of the very prestigious assignments,
Mm-hmm.
working with Unilever Gulf. I was deputed to that. And while that prestige, that status, everything was there attached to it, एक fear भी था कि अपना safe zone निकल के, comfort zone से निकल के वहां जाना है. So I, honestly speaking, I did have the option of saying no to that, but I said कि चलो ये भी करते हैं, because कब तक वो comfort zone में ही रहेंगे. So I thought that let me take up whatever is coming, let me just take up instead of getting into my own shell and saying कि नहीं ये नहीं चाहिए. And by then, since I had started working with people as a CA, working with a company like PricewaterhouseCoopers, so वो already एक थोड़ा सा openness आने लगा था. So I said चलो करते हैं, let's take it up. But
So,
then वहाँ पे like it was meeting new people altogether.
yes, it's a very different culture, in fact.
Culture is
Yes.
different, and I had a kind of experience in two diametrically opposite cultures in Gulf. Half the time I was in Dubai, and Dubai is like pretty much like India. You don't miss India much when you're in Dubai. And half the time I was in Jeddah,
Okay.
Saudi Arabia. And those days it was even more restrictive then. So there was a kind of a quite contrast at that time. And I think the learning, the growth happened through those days. And I clearly recall one statement my father made when I came back. He said that you went as a boy and came back as a man.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that was something that really kind of a testimony to my growth and in that development while I was there alone.
So how did that change? I mean, I want to understand more. And in fact, for somebody who's listening, that somebody had a fear of people, and then finally you are into that career where you're always surrounded with people. As you said, as your father said very clearly, like the
Yeah.
transformation from boy to man. So वो क्या चीजें थी जो जिन्होंने आपको चेंज किया, या आपको हेल्प किया उस स्टेज से ट्रांस?
So just I chose to kind of not pay attention to my fears.
Exactly.
Because वो एक inner voice आता रहता है ना, कैसे
जी.
होगा, ये क्या कर रहा है, ये कभी किया नहीं है. And I said, छोड़ो ये सबको, जो करना है उस पर फोकस करना है. And what helped me was that rather than give attention to all these imaginary worries, I thought about all the things that I had already done successfully in the past, which were also difficult. Best example was completing my CA exam.
Right.
अगर वो कर सकते हैं तो फिर ये क्या है? तो every moment is going to throw up a new opportunity, something new, something more exciting. And let's face everything with excitement rather than with fear.
Right. Because if you see the kind of sensory responses, they are pretty much same when you are afraid and when you are excited.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that shift in the mind, that okay, instead of getting I mean, having experiencing these things, instead of out of fear, let's drive it out of excitement.
Yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So the physiological changes, let's say, the heart rate going up, the sweaty palms, they are similar when it's fear or excitement.
Right, right.
तो वही physiological factors को use करके आप
Mm,
अपना mindset change कर सकते हो
mm.
and you can change the way you think.
Is it really possible to just change the mindset and then you start feeling in a different zone?
From experience, it's easier said than done, but what is needed maximum to be there at that moment is awareness.
Right. So if in
Not
case, let's say somebody's, sorry to cut you, in the audience is listening to this and they might say, okay, tell me one tool which I can, maybe use it in
Yeah,
order to try it out. So what would you say?
yeah. So there is a tool from the field of NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming,
Mhm.
which definitely I learned formally later on, but I
Mm.
realized I was already applying all the tools in my mind. I was going through all these changes.
Mm.
That is the tool of anchoring yourself to
Mm.
a past positive, powerful moment
Mm.
where you did something fantastically well and getting into that state of mind.
Mm. जैसे
So,
आपने बोला कि आपने सीए किया तो वो इतना
हाँ,
डिफिकल्ट चीज किया तो ये भी कर सकते हैं आप.
तो अगर वो मोमेंट में जब मैं सीए की पढ़ाई कर रहा था, वो टाइम पे मैं कैसा फील कर रहा था? There was an excitement that हाँ ये करना ही है. There was no other option. There was no other option. मैंने कोई और, I'm not saying no other option from the point of compulsion or restriction, but I'm saying I didn't see any other option beyond appearing for the paper and passing the exam. तभी भी when I was doing my CA also, a lot of people told me, अरे CA क्यों choose किया? You know 98% of the people fail.
Yeah, I have heard it's a very difficult exam.
Yeah.
Hmm.
तो तभी भी वो एक NLP में एक और technique है which is called as reframing. So reframing is giving a positive flip to the situation. Okay, not just positive thinking. It's not denying what is happening. So it's not to say that 98% fail hota hai, so now let me start believing that 98% people pass. That is not what reframing is. Reframing is taking the same thing and instead of saying the 98% fail, to look at it that 2% people are capable of passing.
And you could be that amongst that
Exactly.
2%.
Exactly.
Right,
And
right.
there is another principle in NLP that if one person can do it, then anyone can do it.
Wow, that's really amazing because all you need is that 1%, right? You are that 1%.
या अगर आपने देखा है कि कोई कर सकता है या आपने भी कुछ किया है तो डेफिनेटली आप भी कर सकते हो और आपने कुछ किया है तो आप उसको रिपीट कर सकते हो सक्सेसेस कैन बी रिपीटेड बिकॉज सक्सेस लीव्स क्लूज
Yes, I totally believe it, right? As you said, अगर एक बंदे ने भी किया है, that one thing is good enough that
या
yes, you can also do it. Yes,
and
certainly.
today the tools and techniques that I've learned and that I teach in neuro-linguistic programming are all about figuring out the strategies of success.
Wow. Is there something called that?
Yeah,
Strategies of success?
yeah. NLP basically is all about modeling successful behavior. And when I say modeling, it's about figuring out how people have achieved success in the past or what they are doing past or present and figuring out how they have done it. Strategies here in NLP are the thought processes because same things are happening in everybody's life. It's just that the successful people are looking at it differently and thereby able to apply it differently in their life. So there is, I'll keep moving back and forth from my journey
Yes,
to.
yes, feel free. Yes, please.
So the one of the basic premises of NLP is based on the fact that mind is a meaning-making machine,
True.
right? And that time I was giving meaning. Okay, I cannot talk to people, or people will laugh at me, or I will fumble because people will laugh because I'm stammering or stuttering at that time. So, but that was the meaning which I was giving. But when I saw successful speakers and seeing that, what meaning are they giving? They are not attaching these kind of meanings. So you change the meaning making, you change your action towards it. You change the results. And
Here,
NLP,
actually, Yeah.
NLP techniques are all about modeling. And when we say modeling, again, it's about retaining your individuality and still picking and choosing what works and creating your own recipe for success.
Right. So here I have one question. See, I believe what all is there in your mind, probably like जो भी हमने सुना और सुन करके देख करके हम बड़े हुए, हम उसी तरीके से सोचते हैं, because that's all what we have in our mind. However, when we have to change it, like if I'm listening to you and it sounds very exciting that success leaves clues, and if one person can do it, yes, I can also do it. However, when I try to apply that, there is a voice in my head which would say, okay, you are not that one person who did it, and probably you are not good enough even to even think about it, maybe whatever past beliefs I hold about myself. How do I quiet or talk to that voice to shut up and just let me proceed?
So there are again several processes based on that itself. That how to shut that small voice, right? Abhi, if you are having that voice, pay attention to that voice that's telling you. If anybody in the audience is also doing this, listening to me right now, know that which is that voice which is telling you right now that ये तुमसे नहीं हो पाएगी. और देखो वो voice कहाँ से आ रहा है. If you were to close your eyes and pay attention to the voice, where is that voice coming from? Which direction? What is the volume of the voice? What is the pitch of the voice? Loud है, soft है, क्या है उसका qualities क्या है? And let's say we retain the same content of that voice, okay? जो आपको बोल रहा है कि तुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा. What if that is said in the voice of some cartoon character of yours? What changes in the way the voice is saying that thing? What changes in the way you are giving meaning to what is being said? And what changes in the emotion with which you are now listening to the voice?
It changes, yes.
Right. See, the thing is that when we say that don't pay attention to that voice, usko band karo, usko shut down karo, it's very easier said than done. You cannot not listen to something which is there. And also listen and have fun with that. उसका volume temper करो, उसका आवाज modality change करो. And make it so trivial that content is still the same. The properties are different. The quality of that voice is different, that it doesn't matter at all. किसका आवाज है, कौन बोल रहा है, छोड़. And now you are on your own trip to do everything in spite of the voice. There is one principle that what you resist will persist. आप वो वॉइस को रेजिस्ट करोगे, वो दोबारा आएगा, वही सेम टोनालिटी में आएगा, वही सेम जगह से आएगा. उसको टोनालिटी चेंज करो, उसका डायरेक्शन चेंज करो, add in different elements, and lot of that is coming from the field of neuro-linguistic programming. Again, how to change that voice within you. बाद में we can even work on how to change the content, but पहले तो वो उसका generally you notice the voice which is there. When I ask you to pay attention to the kind of voice, the quality of voice, किसका voice है? You might even realize this voice sounds familiar. Maybe it's my own voice. Maybe it's the voice of some authority figure whom I paid attention to in childhood. और वही आज दिमाग में कुछ कर रहा है.
हाँ, जैसे पेरेंट्स ने कुछ बोला या रिलेटिव्स ने बोला या क्लास में टीचर ने या किसी फ्रेंड ने बोला.
Yeah. What if it was in the sound, in the voice of Donald Duck?
मेरे दिमाग में भी अंकल स्क्रूज आया, वो डकटेल्स वाला.
Right? Or maybe that old comedian Jagdeep या Afrani, उसकी आवाज में बोल तो सुनो तो कैसा लगता है? It becomes more like trivial. Sure. So these may seem to be simple tricks and hacks, but they are really powerful, because every thought that you have, everything that you believe in, everything that you choose to listen to, every rule and regulation that you have created in your own life, the meaning making of that is creating an impact on your actions and results.
So true.
And that meaning making is coming not just from the content of what your thoughts are, but also the properties of that thoughts. It may sound maybe magical, but it is definitely a very much logical thing.
And it's,
Work
see
on
how
this.
simple you made it. I mean, only if we understand this and apply it, many of us can do unimaginable things,
Exactly.
right?
And all these things are created. They are not like theories which are just developed. कि अच्छा ये करके आओ. All these processes are developed by observing people who have overcome their fears and anxieties. I have not developed them. They're developed by the gurus from the field of neuro-linguistic programming, where they have seen, okay, how is it that people have overcome their phobias, their worries, their anxieties? What meaning making were they giving? How have they been able to achieve goals successfully? We were talking about strategies of success. There are lots of documentation and work done on figuring out strategies of geniuses like Albert Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, William Shakespeare. All successful people have been studied in depth to find out what their self-talk was, what meaning making were they giving to situations that required a lot of coping up, what meaning making they gave to their challenges. Coming back to that fact that mind is a meaning making machine, we take action not based on what things are there in front of you, but based on what meaning we give to things in front of us.
So true. And you are very, I mean, you're a live example, at least for the audience, because somebody who was of that kind of introvert and so shy away with people is actually giving presentation after presentation every week and always surrounded with people, talking to their heart out and helping them. Wow, that's amazing. So, yeah, as you said, I mean, that 1 year of away from India, and then once you came back, and your father made such a remarkable saying that, okay, from boy to a man transformation.
Yeah.
Once you came back from there, how did you feel about yourself once you came back to your own place and listening such kind of compliment from your father?
Yes, I felt proud about it. Definitely, I felt great that yeah, it is something that not just I am feeling a change, but that change is observable.
Yes.
Right? My father is saying that too. So wonderful. And then it was like I realized that yeah, I can it I can overcome anything. That by that time I was still a bit of that stammer stutter was still there, and that made me used to make me conscious. But then I consciously worked on that. And again, I continued my journey in my corporate career, and I moved from PwC to a Fortune 500 company as the finance head there. Then further moved to another European company. So moved from one multinational company to another, be in roles of vice president, finance director, and CFO, and various other titles. Nice, fancy, good designations to feel proud of. But even that time, I always believe that that your designation is not your identity.
Yes, let's just talk about it, because many of us feel that, like, if you are working somewhere, whether you are this status or that status or what do you called as, is such a big deal for many of us, right? I mean, promotion में पैसे नहीं बढ़े that चलेगा, लेकिन टाइटल बढ़ना चाहिए, मैनेजर से एसोसिएट मैनेजर, सीनियर मैनेजर. If somebody asks कि कितना अमाउंट इंक्रीज हुआ है, that's peanuts.
I need it.
Why do
That
we
is
associate such meanings?
that is still fine. That is still fine. But उसको अपना identity मत बना लो. That is you can take it as a kind of what to say, some kind of feel good factor. Okay, now I'm manager, now I'm CFO, I'm vice president. Okay, but that is not me. In fact, वो designation से जो भी respect आता है वो designation को आता है.
Exactly, and people feel as if it is for them, and
Yeah.
that's what when they are
So
retired, then they feel, अरे अब तो मैं नहीं हूँ वो, people don't respect me.
yeah. So create that respect for you, for your personal self. That doesn't mean designations are not important, but that's just one of the titles I hold. Like, you know, I could be a CFO, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a son, I'm a brother. ये भी सब roles ही है ना. That is also one of
Correct.
the roles. In
How
fact,
do we dissociate ourselves? Like,
So stay down to earth and understand your own identity. Understand the
mm,
difference between your identity and the roles that you play. This
mm,
is just one of the roles.
mm. And I think if we could do this, probably the failures which come with that position or that identity would also not hurt so much that you start feeling worthless and I am
Yeah,
not enough.
yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
And there are multiple roles. You are bigger than all the roles that you play,
So true.
right? So I remember, like, after around 4 5 years of completing my CA, I did my MBA.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I faced that
MBA
fear.
कर लिया आपने.
And I did it from a very prestigious institute. I did from Jamnaral Bajaj, Mumbai,
Mm-hmm.
while working in my as a VP finance of a French company.
Mm.
So पूरा दिन office में, evenings में, class में, learning.
Mm.
And that's when I realized that how important learning is.
Mm.
And तभी हो सकता था कि मैं पहले एक सोच थी कि ओके सीए कर लिया, अभी और क्या चाहिए, है ना?
Mm.
सीए है, वीपी इन अ फ्रेंच कंपनी, हो गया, लाइफ इज सेट.
Mm.
But I chose to do MBA just to kind of face that fear. But then that made me realize the importance of continuous learning, because वहाँ जो learning हुआ,
Mm.
which helped me in my growth as a professional and also as a personal, on the
Mm.
personal front as well, interacting with people, creating new paradigm shifts.
Mm.
And तभी जो learning start हुआ, that learning has not stopped till now.
Mm.
I keep learning when I'm not teaching. Today I'm in the field of teaching and coaching, but when I'm not teaching, I'm learning. On my website, you will find 96 certifications that I've
Oh
done.
my God.
And there are more. I've just put 96 of them.
Just
But,
put 96.
but, but the thing is that I'm not again saying it to boast कि देखो मैं कितना महान विद्वान हूँ. Not at all.
जी.
I believe that you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you
Yeah.
don't know. And when you start knowing it, you realize that how much less you know. There is so much more to know. The moment
Yes.
you say, हाँ मुझे सब मिल गया, सब समझ में आ गया, तो finish, life is over.
Yes. Yes.
And I was talking about this thing, right? That your designation cannot be your identity.
जी.
I remember when I was in one of my corporate roles, and I was learning about mind mapping and speed reading and NLP. तभी मैंने शुरू किया था. When I was in the corporate field, I started learning more about NLP. One of my bosses told me, "Bhai, you are a finance professional. You are a CFO. ये सब
Mm.
क्यों पढ़ रहे हो? What has NLP got to do with it?"
Mm.
And my reply was that my designation is not my identity.
Yeah.
मैंने अपने बॉस को बोला कि my designation is not my identity.
उस साल आपको आपका वेरिएबल पे मिला.
अरे जोरदार मिला. In fact, he realized, wow, he was a fairly senior guy. He was almost close to retirement.
Mm.
And he said,
Mm.
I wish I had that thought when I was young.
Mm. Mm. Wow.
So it is something where people start attaching yourself to a role. Please
Mm.
remember, these are all various roles that you play, and you are bigger than all the roles.
Mm.
You choose which role you are playing at what time. Don't bring your manager at home,
Mm.
and don't take
Mm.
the husband to the office.
And actually, most of us fail to separate them, and we are all together all the time. Like when
Exactly.
you're a manager and you have that thing, okay, my son is here, my daughter is there, and when you're at
Yeah.
home, अरे मेरी वो project रह गई, मेरी वो file
Yeah.
dispatch नहीं हुई. It's really hard to separate them.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is. It is. So that again, it all boils down to awareness.
Be
Becoming
aware that okay,
self-aware.
you are at
Yeah.
home,
Yeah.
so you are a father or you are a
Yeah.
mother.
Yeah.
Mm.
And there are a lot of techniques. Again, this is from the field of productivity. I'm
Mm.
also a productivity coach and trainer. So I'm in
आप
Mumbai's
क्या नहीं करते हैं? सब कुछ करते हैं.
I'm Mumbai's first certified trainer in GTD, Getting Things Done. That
Wow.
is the art of stress-free productivity by
Mhm.
David Allen.
That's awesome.
So that talks about ways on. It's not about compartmentalizing. कि अच्छा, I am a how do you separate my personal from my professional? We are all playing one person playing multiple roles.
True.
There are a lot of techniques that you can actually know. Okay, yeah, that other role is also there, and when I'm in that role, I will play that role. Right now, I need to play this role. So, how to achieve that stress-free productivity by doing some minor tweaks in your mind, that you create a system that reminds you at the right place at the right time when you want to be reminded of it, and not at the wrong place at the wrong time.
I just thought of an analogy. Like, imagine if I am an actor and if I'm shooting for, let's say, one film. So I
Yeah,
can't speak another film's dialogue here, right? This is this
beautiful. Yeah,
scene. I
exactly.
have to say these lines because these fit in this particular shooting and not some other line, even though I want to say them so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
And we are, that's what we are playing multiple roles. And you can take the
Yes.
analogy of the roles that an actor plays in life.
Right. And if I have 10 films assignment, I can't say 9 films assignment on the second one. It
Yeah,
would just mess up my life, and that's what is happening with most of us.
exactly. That's what's happening.
So just stick
And
to that role because of awareness, as you said.
be aware. Be aware
Mm,
what role requires what to be played in which time, and do that.
mm, mm, mm. Okay, that sounds so interesting, and I love the fact that you said you believe in constant learning. I personally believe in that. I keep doing multiple things. So I want to understand when you were doing your MBA, and then how did this shift happen that you wanted to learn NLP, or you want this? How did this NLP thing drove you?
Sure.
How did you get into the learning process?
So it was way back when I was in the corporate world,
Mm-hmm.
and I was always interested in various other things apart from just my corporate world,
Mm-hmm.
my domain of finance. So I used to learn finance. I've done a lot of diplomas in finance field also.
Mm-hmm.
And addition to that, I kept learning on the mind, the psychology, how the mind can achieve whatever it wants. I realized a lot of domains and fields, with due respect to all the domains, gave a lot of inspiration and motivation कि ये करना चाहिए.
Mm-hmm.
Self-talk change करो. Do the positive thinking. And then by our mind is very sharp. You cannot fool the mind to say कि नहीं ये नहीं हो रहा है. So I was researching on various methodologies which exist, and I found that in NLP there were practical tools of making it work. One thing, in fact, very interestingly, how I stumbled upon NLP, I'll use the word stumbled upon, because it was just by a rare chance that एक हमारा MBA में एक लेक्चर था, and फाइनेंस का जो प्रोफेसर थे वो एब्सेंट थे तभी, and it was too late to announce to the students that it will be a free session, because it was like a 3-hour class, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. 6 p.m. को ऑलरेडी लोग आ चुके हैं, अभी उनको बोलना कि भाई नहीं हो रहा है लेक्चर तो घर जाओ. तो the college actually organized the lecture by a marketing professor. ऐसे ही गेस्ट लेक्चर. ओके, मार्केटिंग प्रोफेसर फ्री बैठे थे, बोले चलो इन स्टूडेंट्स को थोड़ा मार्केटिंग एंड एडवर्टाइजमेंट का ज्ञान दे दो. तो वो मार्केटिंग प्रोफेसर ने बताया how subconsciously the advertising world is using certain tricks to influence you to buy their product. In that, one of the tools that he mentioned of subconscious influence was NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. That was the first time I heard about it. उसके पहले मुझे कुछ आइडिया नहीं था NLP का, कुछ होता भी है. And then I looked up on it. I said, ये क्या है? And then I found a lot of things that it can, how you can use it to build rapport with people, how you can use it to influence people to your point of view, make them understand what you are saying, make them realize where you are coming from, how it can be used to settle and resolve disputes altogether. And when I learned it, I did my master practitioner at that time. एक बार किया, started using it and applying it in my corporate world, bringing about better results. Being a finance head, one of the day-to-day challenges, I would say, which come is that as a finance head, you have to manage compliance. But on the other end, there are business that say compliance को बाजू में रखो, हमको turnover ज़्यादा चाहिए. So how to convince the business what I am saying they have to do, not because I am saying it, but because it's important for the business, because it's important for them as well. So I applied the rules and techniques of NLP to get them want what I wanted them to do. And that was the use of NLP for influence and for communication. In
Awesome.
fact, putting the other person in front of you and making them understand that why they should be doing what you are telling them to do. There are a lot of conscious and subconscious influence techniques built into NLP. So that was my initial reason to get into NLP. एक बार I started getting deeper and deeper into NLP, I realized it's more about your self-awareness as well, understanding self. बात दूसरे को बाद में समझोगे, of course you'll get that perspective also. But first is understanding your own strengths, your own weaknesses, how to overcome them. Basically, how to understand your own thought patterns and figure out which thought patterns are helping you, which are not helping you. जरूरी नहीं कि सारे thought patterns को change ही करना है. You are not a defective piece. There are
things which might be working for you, right? In fact, most of the things.
But again, your awareness will help you to realize that what is working and make that work more. And your awareness will help you to realize what is not working and use your behavioral flexibility to make that work for you. So with that, I got into NLP. I got a lot of value from NLP as a practitioner, as a master practitioner, where I was using it for my own self and in day-to-day professional interaction and communication with people. Then I didn't stop just with one NLP course. I've done multiple NLP courses, practitioner, master practitioner, 5-6 different people have done. And I've got value from everywhere. And I've kind of stacked it up on my existing knowledge and become better at it. Today, the way it's like my friends, my colleagues, they tell me that I am a walking, talking, living NLP model.
They have seen so much in you, right? How you have changed with your knowledge and the awareness and all that.
And even in day-to-day interaction, I'm constantly applying NLP, whether I'm consciously aware of it or not.
Because I think that has become a second behavior now for you. Because
Exactly.
you know so much about it. Initially, it is conscious, and then it just becomes part of your subconscious mind, and you just do it.
True. And the interesting journey from me moving from the corporate world to the field of coaching and training. I'm sure you must be wondering, भैया इतना
Yes, हाँ,
इतना
वो
corporate में
बताइए
success
उसके
कर लिया,
बारे में.
यहाँ पे क्या करूं?
How did that shift happen? Because I know when, especially the way you described, you must be having a very high package back
Yes.
at that point in time, and
Yeah.
getting into coaching where you are just going to establish yourself. It must
Yeah.
have been a difficult or challenging phase.
Yes.
कैसे decide किया आपने?
Yeah. So again, it happened when I completed my MBA. I kept learning new things, including NLP, mind mapping, productivity, lateral thinking, many courses I kept doing while working. And what happened is that I got a offer from my MBA B school from General Bajaj to come back and teach.
Oh, again, bright scholar.
I was invited as a visiting faculty. Even as of today, I'm still a visiting faculty with General Bajaj.
Awesome.
But that time, I was required to go back and teach there once a week. And मुझे लगा already, अभी इतना पब्लिक को फेस कर रहा हूँ, ये काफी है, अभी क्या न्यू फ्रेश ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स एंड ऑल, अभी ये कभी किया नहीं है. I don't think I'm cut off for that. So I was thinking of not taking it up. But then I said that चलो ये भी करके देखते हैं. 1 साल करेंगे, 1 सेमेस्टर करते हैं, then नहीं अच्छा लगा तो छोड़ देंगे. No harm in just going for it, right? So
I like this attitude. You say, चलो एक बार करके देखते हैं.
That is like really helped me a lot because everything I learned was because of that. एक बार करके देखते. And I said, okay, chalo, I accepted the dean's invite to teach. I started teaching financial accounting over there. And वहाँ पे I realized that coming up there on the podium, teaching 120 people, fresh students, and this was a part-time MBA batch. So it's not that just students who are freshers. Part-time MBA में क्या होता है? There are people with experience, people with
Yes.
5-10 years experience also. They've worked, they've seen the world, and I'm giving them knowledge on finance. So I got to meet new people. I got to interact with new people, get new perspectives, teach them. And I realized, wait, I'm actually enjoying this more than what I'm doing in my office. That one day in a week started giving me more satisfaction
Joy.
than in that big fancy designation. And teacher का मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, and then I said, ये अच्छा लग रहा है. I started teaching in 2011, continued that even till today. So 2012, 13, 14, I started realizing this is what I actually want to do. What I will teach, pata nahi, but teaching is something I like. Then I tried to figure out what is it that I would like to teach. Default answer came by finance professional, finance se sikhaoge aur kya sikhaoge. But then I felt, I looked back that what are those things that really made a difference in my life. I don't want to teach something just because I have knowledge of it. I want to teach something that has really made an impact in my life and can help people to make impact in their life. And by then, that moving from that reserved shy guy to a teacher, talking to 120 new people, that itself was a big transformation. And that personal victory, whatever helped me in doing that personal victory, is what I decided to take up as my core topic, which was NLP. So I teach not only NLP, I teach NLP GTD, which is getting things done, productivity. I teach mind mapping, creativity, memory techniques. Whatever I used in my CA, how to use that. Whatever I didn't even know कि ऐसा कुछ था, बाद में पता चला. I wish I had used it when I was doing my CA. So not many things that really made a change in my life that helped me. I decided to use that and become a trainer in that. So that was a turning point. Although that happened in 2011, started in 2011, I made the final shift in 2014. I planned it out while I was in the job. There were few things to be addressed, right? And this is a message to all of those over here. A lot of people say just follow your passion. I would say don't blindly follow your passion, right? Otherwise, there is a saying that your passion can become your poison.
तो आपने बोला कुछ few things थी जो कुछ चीजें थी जो आपको ठीक करनी पड़ी. Can you say them? What are they?
वही बता रहा हूँ. तो अगर मुझे लगता चलो मुझे अब पैशन मिल गया, सब छोड़ो, रेजिग्नेशन देके, I took 3 years to resign because I planned it out. First and foremost, I had to plan out, okay, how am I, just because I like it, am I good for it? I was getting very good feedback as a teacher in my class, but they were students. Students तो अच्छा feedback ही देंगे प्रोफेसर को.
नहीं ऐसा नहीं है, बहुत सारे प्रोफेसर को गालियां भी पड़ती है.
But still, so I said, okay, let me test it out. I started teaching in smaller groups, friends, families. Okay, started becoming more knowledgeable in the core subject of NLP, doing more research, learning from various other people also, apart from where I learned from. And more importantly, the most practical part of it, money.
Yes, let's talk about that.
And as you rightly observed, in those fancy, huge designations, it came with a huge pay package also.
True.
Suddenly shifting the career and starting from scratch in a field that I didn't have experience in, just knowledge and passion, that's not enough. So I planned out my finances systematically. And 3 years I took to kind of develop new saving habits, new spending habits, as if I was already in the new lifestyle of starting from scratch, so that I could save better.
So here,
figured, sorry,
go ahead.
I thought कि I'm a chartered accountant, MBA finance, बहुत सारे diplomas किए finance में, तो finance तो naturally आएगा. I realized at that time that most of the education on CA and MBA teaches you how to manage a business money, how to manage the profit and loss, balance sheet, business acumen कैसा होना चाहिए, वो सारा financial matters बताता है. What about personal finance?
True.
सीए में अगर पर्सनल फाइनेंस की बात करें सीए करिकुलम में, तो इट इज मेनली रिस्ट्रिक्टेड टू टैक्स, पर्सनल टैक्सेशन. Personal finance is before is beyond tax. It is about your mindset about money, your attitude towards money, your spending habits, your saving habits, your investing habits, knowing where to invest, what is the right source, knowing about insurance, planning about your retirement. So one of the other things I did in these 3 years was I did a course in financial planning.
Wow.
I did CFP. खुद के लिए किया. Today I use it to help other people plan their own retirement as well. So I realized, okay, it's not just, I could have definitely gone to a CFP and understood, but I said, मुझे ये पहले सीखना है, then I will go to a trusted person also. So I understood the mechanics of it. I did my CFP, then I did my CWM, which is Chartered Wealth Manager, did my QPFP, which is Qualified Personal Finance Planner. A lot of things to help me strengthen my own financial planning base, my personal finance base. तो वो सारा प्लान करके then while I was in the job, I did specific training on NLP. I did a specific training on becoming a NLP trainer, starting to groom myself for that. Did my coach training program, became a ACC, that is Associate Certified Coach with ICF, International Coach Federation. Did all of that while I was in the job.
Wow, kudos to you. And that zeal of learning that, okay, ये सीखो समझो उसके बाद implement करो.
Yeah. And mind you, just clarifying, not at the cost of the job performance.
Yes, certainly.
So वेरिएबल पे भी मिला, इंक्रीमेंट्स भी मिला, मतलब काम भी अच्छा हो ही रहा था, प्लस खुद पे भी फोकस हो रहा था, प्लस फैमिली भी था. इट इज अगेन अबाउट मैनेजिंग मल्टीपल रोल्स.
आपकी शादी हो गई थी तब?
हाँ हाँ, शादी तो एमबीए के पहले ही हो गई थी.
आपकी वाइफ को समझ आता था कि टाइम मैनेज हो पा रहा है आपका?
यस.
Then she will
Luckily
be very
and
cooperative.
grateful for a very supportive partner. My wife has been really supportive in all my success. Even my daughter, and she is also very supportive. So that really helps, having the supportive environment.
Yes.
And one thing in NLP also is that getting into the champion mode and creating the supportive environment around you. I'm not trying to steal that credit, but I'm saying that if you are feeling that, family को कैसे समझाएंगे या ये कैसे होगा, get into the champion mode and see how to make it happen.
Okay, give just one tip here, like if someone has to get into champion mode, because आपने जो बोला वो सब करने के लिए, it first of all that zeal that okay मुझे सीखना है, करना है, and be a constant learner for rest of your life, and ये नहीं कि just take the decision, obviously be aware. However, how do you ensure or develop that supportive environment? That is something which boosts your confidence a lot and
Yes.
allow you to move forward.
Yeah.
How to do that?
Yeah. Simple principle. It's not I versus them. It's
Right.
being together. अगर ये बात समझ में आ गई ना आपको, इसका डेप्थ, ये मैंने एक बहुत सिंपल स्टेटमेंट बोला है, बट इसका डेप्थ आपको समझ में आ गया ना, तो यू विल ऑन योर ओन टेक देम इनटू कॉन्फिडेंस. इट इज नेवर अबाउट आई वर्सेस देम. इट्स नॉट अबाउट मुझे करना है, उसको समझेगा कि नहीं. तो हमें साथ में करना है.
And most of the time हम लोग ऐसे ही सोचते हैं कि हमें करना है, पता नहीं वो सपोर्ट करेंगे कि नहीं. Maybe they will not understand us. It's all about I versus them.
Yeah, yeah. Make it we. Again, I'll keep going back to what has helped me, which is NLP.
Yes.
There are a lot of, we call it as a rapport, lot of rapport building tools and techniques that comes from NLP, how to make the other person understand you. And it's not a one-way thing. It's not about manipulating के उसको समझाना है. That person should understand me. This is a two-way process. I only mentioned one part of it, which is how to make the other person understand you. The other part of it is how do you understand their point of views. And that is where it's not I versus them. It's we together. We both get in together and understand. अच्छा ये कर सकते हैं, क्या कर सकते हैं, what challenges you are foreseeing, how we can work on it together. You help me, I help you, and we get it together. अभी भी as I'm saying this, I'm sure some people from the audience may be wondering, but ये आपके लिए बोलना आसान है, आपका वाइफ सपोर्टिव था. मेरे घर में ये है, वो है, जो भी है, it can be done.
It's
In
just
fact,
that tools आपको apply करने पड़ेंगे.
exactly. At this point, I would highly recommend you, all of you, to learn NLP. And I would say, don't learn NLP from the point of view of getting some new knowledge of NLP क्या है. Learn NLP from the point of view of applying NLP. ये मैं इसलिए नहीं बोल रहा हूँ because I am an NLP trainer. You have the choice. I am one of the choices in from where you can learn. Go to anyone who will teach you NLP from a practical perspective of how to apply it in your day-to-day life.
So true. In fact, when I learned NLP, I realized, अरे कितना practical है. Like I personally felt everyone has to learn NLP when I learned it. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि ऐसी भी कोई चीज होती है. And it is so good to see that it is in structured format, curriculum है. You can learn it and pursue it even as a career. So I personally felt, I mean, enlightened when I have gone through the course. It was really amazing. And you are the living example of using it so much that, okay, help yourself and help the family, get everyone together and just follow your dreams.
Yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
have that balance in all areas of your life. Balance between even the heart and the head.
Yes.
Right? So plan it out.
So,
And
yes.
planning is not about overthinking and over planning. Practically finding out what needs to be done and then do it.
Okay, so I would want you to touch upon a bit of the 3 years जो आपने लिए plan करने के लिए. उसमें आपने बहुत सारा personal finance सीखा. What else, like if I would ask you, what are the core things which you planned out in those 3 years?
So planning about my finances, as I said.
Yes.
Planning about getting more credentials on the core domain that I want to get into. If you're starting a new career from scratch,
Right.
सही नहीं कि चलो छोड़ के शुरू कर दिया. So I did my train the trainer. I did a lot of training programs to become a trainer. I did my coach training programs, got trained to become a coach. Many people say, some people will say, naturally आता है coaching, तो इसमें क्या program करने का. अच्छा है, naturally आता है, तो boss, that is the added advantage.
Yes.
Right? But some structure really helps. And with due credit to your natural skills, अच्छी बात है. थोड़ा और अगर आप देखोगे, you'll get a different perspective also. You may realize, like, as I said, awareness about what works, awareness about what you need to improve on. वो तभी आएगा when you do some kind of a structured learning program as well. So I did all of this. I did NLP for coaching, how to use NLP in coaching, because if I'm coaching, मैंने अभी तक NLP use किया है from a practical personal point of view. अगर किसी और को सिखाना है तो उसमें भी how to use NLP so that you are able to get the answers from within that person. That's what coaching is about.
Yes.
Right? So using NLP there, then also test your skills out in the market.
Like proof of concept, whether it will work or not.
Yeah. So short sessions किए, चलता है कि नहीं किया. That was non-commercial entirely because I could not charge for that. I was already in a job. What I did was I tested the market differently. I partnered with some existing trainers. I wanted to get into training. Training का तो मैं काम कर ही रहा हूँ. I got confidence. I'm a good trainer. How about my marketing skills?
Yes, that's
Is
important.
there market for what I want to teach? So I partnered with some trainers who were already there in the market, and I promoted their programs on my Facebook and LinkedIn. And I took the risk over there. Risk in the sense I did a profit sharing with them. So I am not selling my product and services. I became the kind of the marketing partner for other trainers.
Kind of affiliate.
While I was in the job.
Yeah.
While I was in the job. Right? And not just sharing an affiliate link, telling specifically to people that this is for your benefit. आप इसका program attend करो, आपको knowledge मिलेगा. One more thing. Okay, that thing I'll talk later. First, to answer your question about these 3 years. So this is what I worked on. This is what I developed on. Making that platform ready to launch.
या मतलब वो सिर्फ आइडिया कि चलो ठीक है मुझे ये अच्छा लगता है, लेट मी डू इट, एंड जो एग्जिस्टिंग है, अगर यू जस्ट जंप इन, probably there might be a chances it might fail or something, but if you do all this planning thoroughly and you test yourself, you know how to market yourself, like launchpad ready है, probably then it's a good idea to jump.
Yeah, exactly,
Mm.
exactly.
ओके, तो एज यू वर सेइंग दैट, ओके, सो जब आपने वो टेस्ट किया एंड लोगों का प्रमोट किया, देन हाउ वाज योर एक्सपीरियंस ड्यूरिंग दैट?
Good, good. So I realized, okay, I'm able to do that. It was, in fact, today I realized it was easier for me to sell other people's programs than my own project. So,
ओके.
so then, so then I started working on that. How to so that inhibition comes ना, खुद के बारे में कैसे अच्छी अच्छी बात करूँ, खुद के बारे में कैसे बोलूँ, मेरे पास आ जाओ. Like even right now, as I'm saying, I just told people learn NLP. If not from me, then anybody. So I know that I have got feedback in the last 2 years. I've trained 600 people in NLP, and across various professions. I've trained doctors, lawyers, CAs, housewives, students, therapists, coaches, counselors, across the still to say with conviction, नहीं आपको आना है तो मेरे पास ही आओ. तो वो इजीली नहीं आता है. ऐसा क्या कि अब मेरा ऑब्जेक्टिव ये है कि आप NLP सीखो, कहीं से भी सीखो.
हाँ, एंड आई थिंक पीपल ऑल्सो, आई मीन एटलीस्ट इन इंडिया इट इज लाइक दैट, अगर आप बोलो कि मैं ही सबसे अच्छा हूँ, मेरे पास ही आओ, पीपल वुड हैव सम एवर्जन टू सच थिंग्स.
Exactly. And मेरा आइडिया वो भी नहीं है. My idea is कि आप, like you rightly said, everybody should know NLP.
यस,
से भी
सर्टेनली.
सीखो. My objective here is not to come here and promote myself. My objective here is to promote NLP.
यस,
And
यस.
by doing that, to promote your own growth and development.
एंड
When
आई
you
थिंक,
are figuring out your own barriers, obstacles, what works, what does not work, and working on it, you will find that change within you from wherever you do it.
right. So I want to just take one more in terms of this transition. As you said, the launch pad ready किया. तो इतना सब करने के बावजूद, या फिर जब आपने ये 3 year का प्लानिंग किया, and when you shifted, was it easy, pretty easy, or did you still feel some difficulty to, have that financial perspective से? Was it easier to generate the same amount of revenue?
No, no. It took me a lot of time to get back to that same level of revenue.
हाँ, right.
वो भी आप फैक्टर करना ही है, इसीलिए तो मैंने CFP किया था.
अरे आप तो
प्लान
बहुत महान है, आपने किया, लेकिन सब लोग नहीं कर
नहीं
सकते.
नहीं, इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ. दैट्स व्हाई यू हैव टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड. ऐसा नहीं कि चलो अभी शिफ्ट कर दिया तो सेम मंथली इनकम जो था वो अभी सेम मंथली इनकम हो जाएगा.
Exactly.
हो भी सकता है. आई एम नॉट ट्राइंग टू डिस्करेज एनीवन हियर. हो भी
Mm-hmm.
सकता है. इफ यू आर डूइंग इट, इट माइट हैपन. वेरी गुड. इफ इट हैपेंस, वंडरफुल.
Right.
Right? There is a difference between being optimistic and being having blind hope.
Mm-hmm.
तो प्लान करके करो. हो गया तो अच्छी बात है. एंड it will take time. It may take time to stable up, but just be ready.
Yeah.
And for me, again, the same principle that I used in my CA exam applied over here also. There was
Mm-hmm.
no looking back.
Mm. You had that thing कि मैंने अपने आप को equip किया हुआ है, जितना
Yeah,
knowledge हो सकता है उससे, right?
I had not even thought of a plan B.
Mm-hmm. Is
तो
it a
वो
good idea
confidence,
to think of plan B? Because some people say that you always have to have a plan B. What do you say?
maybe it's up to you. Again, up to you. I didn't have it, and I also had a confidence कि if I decide कि ये नहीं चलता है मेरे लिए, I can easily move. But मैंने उसका preparation पे काम नहीं किया.
But mentally flexible रखा अपने आप को कि
Mentally
अगर ये नहीं
flexible
हुआ तो I might.
या फ्लेक्सिबल रखा. बट एक बेस वहां भी बना के रखो. इनिशियली मैंने ऐसा सोचा था. ओके, फर्स्ट 2-3 months आई वाज काइंड ऑफ इंटरव्यू दे के रखते.
Mm-hmm.
जॉब छोड़ने के बाद भी इंटरव्यूज दे के रखते. कहीं भी मिल गया तो ये नहीं चला तो वो काम आएगा. एंड दैट आई फिगर्ड वाज इन फैक्ट स्टॉपिंग मी फ्रॉम ग्रोइंग, बिकॉज इट वाज लाइक दो नावों पे सवार हो रहे थे आप. पुटिंग योर
Correct,
फीट ऑन
correct.
टू बोट्स.
Mm-hmm.
अगर कॉन्फिडेंस है और अगर कुछ हो गया तो जाएंगे ना जॉब मार्केट में. अभी क्यों सोचना.
वही एक बार ट्राई
अभी
करके
अगर
देखिए, फुल फ्लेज.
हाँ, अभी full attention, full energy only on what I want to do, as if there is no plan B. And रैपो एंड ऑल तो बनाया ही था. पीपल वर देयर. अगर चाहिए तो था. बट मैंने किसी को तो बोल के नहीं रखा था कि भाई मैं 6 महीने बाद आऊंगा तो मुझे लेना. नथिंग लाइक दैट. वो ऐसा कोई बेस बना के रखा ही नहीं था. बेस खुद से ही बनाया था. सेविंग, प्लानिंग स्पेंडिंग हैबिट्स को ठीक करके, इन्वेस्टिंग हैबिट्स को ठीक करके, वो करके बनाना चालू किया, एंड दैट रियली हेल्प्ड.
Here I have one question. I personally also want to ask, and it is maybe on behalf of some coaches if they are listening to this conversation, because most of the time जब हम coaches की training लेते हैं या जब हमें पता चलता है कि अच्छा ऐसा कुछ है and we are interested to become a coach, most of the people are actually into some other job and they take coaching as a career and they learn the certification and all that.
Yeah.
They always have this thought that they want to plan their finances. So, do you suggest we have to plan for at least having that amount of money for survive for a year, even if nothing comes in, or you
Yeah.
say 3 years का planning या ऐसा कुछ?
नहीं, एटलीस्ट 1 ईयर का तो होना ही चाहिए. मेरा 3 इयर्स का प्लानिंग प्रिपरेशन का था,
हाँ
बट
नहीं
1 ईयर का, उसके बाद 1 ईयर का बेस बना के रखा था.
exactly. अगर कुछ भी नहीं हुआ, then 1 year also, if you are not a single penny is coming in, then also you can take care of your finances, financial commitments, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you have that amount of cushion, probably then it's a good idea. And already if you have equipped yourself with knowledge, and if you
Yeah.
really know that, okay, this is going to work in your favor or you enjoy doing it, right? But आपने और ये भी बोला कि इतना सब कुछ करने के बावजूद भी it took some time for you to reach to that level,
Yeah, yeah.
right? बल्कि आपने मार्केटिंग भी किया एंड बाकी सारी चीजें भी सीखी, एंड आई एम श्योर फॉर नॉट मेनी ऑफ अस, at least not in that stage that we can try all of those things. So even then it takes time,
It will take time.
right?
Be prepared for the time it will take. And again, when I say it will take time, I'm not discouraging you. It could happen कि जल्दी भी हो जाए, अच्छी बात है,
Yeah.
right? Be open to learning new things.
Yes, that's the
Be
message.
open to learn from various mentors, not only from one mentor.
Do you believe that
Yeah.
it is better to learn from various mentor?
Yeah, I believe that. I've been doing that. As I said, NLP also I've learned from 5, 6 different people. Whatever I've done from different people.
Does it
I've
not?
learned acting also from 3 different schools.
Okay, okay. Does it
So
not create
whatever,
confusion?
there's no confusion. It stacks up, right? अब
Hmm.
टॉपिक सॉरी चेंज कर दो.
Correct.
आपको फील्ड का जो भी आपको करना है, जब आप अलग अलग लोगों से करोगे, तो यू गेट टू नो डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव.
Yes.
And by the way, talking about NLP is defined as the study of subjective experience.
True, true.
Different people are going to bring their own subjective way of teaching, not just NLP, whatever they are teaching. Even if it's a hardcore content curriculum, ये है. But again, the way you will teach it will be different from the way I will teach it.
Yes, certainly.
कोई भी topic ले.
So as I look at it is, see, for the same topic, no matter how much I have learned, I'm sure there will be a lot to learn. When
Yes.
do you think is the time when I feel that I am ready as a coach? I'm asking that, ready to launch myself.
You are ready now, and you are still not ready till ever. So it is like, see, you are ready whenever you feel internally कि हाँ अभी कर सकते हैं. But having said that, it is not a full stop. Even today, although I am a trainer in NLP, I still keep learning more about NLP.
Do you utilize that at the personal level also? As
Yes.
in to your family and friends, do you do the sessions?
Yeah. Yeah. Of
Because
course.
I have heard some time back someone said that you should not be doing it with family.
हाँ,
They might not
because
get it or something like that.
correct. That happens because when you're with family, with friends, you know a lot about their life from your perspective. From your perspective, not from their perspective, because there is a personal attachment over there. Like in coaching fraternity, we talk about the coach has an agenda over there. वो नहीं चाहिए.
True.
So अगर आप खुद के, let's say I have to coach my daughter and I am thinking as a father, then I will not be an effective coach.
True.
But if I'm thinking as applying the coaching competencies in coaching my daughter, which means putting my father aside and bringing the coach in me, then it will work. So to answer your question, उसके लिए भी NLP ही मुझे काम आता है to shift those roles when needed.
Yeah, and I'm looking at is purely with the, like, in a layman term, it's awareness. Okay, now I'm not playing the role of a father, I'm playing the role of a coach. So let
Exactly.
me be in that mode and just do the coaching.
Correct. Correct.
Right. So if we do this awareness thing, probably that itself could be a big help for somebody who has no clue how NLP works.
Yes.
Right. Right. And how did you decide that you wanted to teach three things? As you said, you are India's only W3 coach. How did you decide on that? That's something I want to know.
So I want to teach NLP.
Mm, mm,
Okay.
mm,
Or whatever helped me to achieve the success in my life.
mm,
Now, if I say come to me to learn NLP, बोले NLP करके क्या?
mm,
So the larger outcome of learning NLP is to have a well-balanced, successful life.
mm,
And that well-balanced thought in terms of the ancient Indian philosophy of Tan Man Dhan,
mm, mm.
translated into wealth, wisdom, wellness.
Awesome.
So NLP is one of the things that I help for that.
Mm,
Being a wealth coach, being a wealth expert, I bring my financial planning knowledge for people who want to develop that. Then there was a time when I wanted to work on my fitness as well.
mm,
So I wanted to learn more about fitness. I did a certification course in personal fitness training from K11 Fitness Academy. I
mm,
did more about the mental fitness, emotional fitness, physical fitness. And that also I incorporated in my coaching to help people to become fit and stay physically and emotionally well as well.
mm.
So that's where I blended it all together and coined the umbrella of W3.
Yeah, when I heard the term first time, I was very intrigued. Okay, what is this about? And I was very curious to know more. And I'm so glad that we are having this conversation because now I got to know the meaning behind that term and how did you actually integrate it.
Yeah.
And probably because it's all what you have lived, it easily vibrates from you when somebody talks to you, and your vibes attract your tribe, right? That's how you attract that kind of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So I am so excited and I would really love to continue the discussion, but I'm mindful of time as well. Okay, so before we want to wind up, what if whoever are listening and whoever got intrigued with NLP and if they want to learn from you, then where can they find you? And what are the three things would be the takeaway if in case they would learn it?
Sure. So firstly, let's talk about the takeaways, why they should learn it before I tell them where to
Yes,
learn it from. Okay.
yes.
So I will talk about these three takeaways in terms of the three main pillars of NLP.
Mhm.
One pillar of NLP is outcome orientation, which is clarity about your goals, your vision, what is it that you want to achieve in life, being clear about that. Okay, that becomes the first takeaway to know what is it that you want. If
Mm,
you're confused, कि ये करूँ, वो करूँ, क्या करूँ, and sometimes the confusion is not only between your career choices, it could even be, whether, let's say, whether I should continue a relationship or not.
mm,
Okay, or let's say whether I should do what I want or do what somebody else wants from me.
mm.
Even in actual day-to-day things,
Mm,
helping you in decision making is that ultimate guideline about being clear about what you want. What you
mm,
want from life, what you want from yourself, what you want from the other person, what do you want in every moment of your life.
mm,
So that is the first pillar of NLP, the clarity of outcome.
mm,
Second pillar of NLP is awareness. We've spoken a lot about awareness.
mm,
A lot of awareness. Awareness as in what is the thing that is happening around me.
mm,
And the awareness of the meaning making that I'm doing about it.
mm.
Right? उसने ऐसे टोन में बात किया तो मतलब उसको पसंद नहीं आई मेरी बात.
Meaning making,
ये
right?
meaning making हो गया.
So true, yeah.
Now, meaning making is not necessarily wrong.
Mm,
Maybe you are right. But are you really right? What do you want to do? How do you figure out? How do you pay attention to what is happening sensorily around you
mm,
before you jump into meaning making?
mm,
And I will not say that meaning making will not happen. I'm not saying stop your meaning making. That's not possible. If we have to make sense of things around us, we have to make meaning of things. We have to jump to assumptions and conclusions. What you will learn here is how to become more aware of your assumptions and your meaning making. How to figure out what is working for you, what is not working for you. How to become aware about your feelings about something or someone, about a situation. So sensory awareness as well as the meaning making awareness, both. That is the second pillar. The third pillar is behavioral flexibility. When you put these two together about the outcome that you want, the clarity of the outcome, and your awareness about where you are right now, you know how to get there. What are the multiple ways to get there? The behavioral flexibility. And flexibility is not only in terms of behavior and action, also in terms of your thought. Can I change the way I'm giving meaning to something? When I figured out through awareness what are my default meaning making patterns, what needs to change about that? Is it helping? Is it not helping? That is behavioral flexibility. And if I give an analogy over here, it's like if I'm lost somewhere, I'm traveling from one place to another, I'm lost, I'll open the Google map. Google map will ask me, where do you want to go? Clarity of outcome.
Where to? Yes.
Second, it'll ask you, where are you right now? Awareness. And then it'll tell you how to go there. Multiple ways. Now you choose. It'll also tell you the mode of transport. Car se jana, bike se jana hai, chal ke jana hai, public transport se jana hai. That is where you apply your behavioral flexibility to choose which one applies best.
Or which one suits best in your
exactly.
current place.
Exactly.
Yes.
So these are the three pillars of NLP, and there is one more fourth fundamental of NLP, which is creating rapport. Because all these three pillars, whatever you do, you will not be operating in isolation. You will be working with people. How to get other person to understand your point of view, how to connect with them better, how to influence them where needed, how to inspire them where needed, how to motivate them to take action, how to empower yourself as well as others. Is all that what you will learn in NLP, and that's why you should learn NLP.
Awesome. You revised my whole course of NLP, which I did like 2 years ago. This is what we did learn. Yes.
Yes.
That's awesome. I'm sure many people would be interested to know and learn now.
Yeah. So now that you know why it is important to learn, now let me tell you where to get it.
Yes, please do.
Right. So you can reach out on my website, w3coach.com, or you can send an email to mehernosh@w3coach.com.
I'll put it in the description box as well.
Yeah. So I will send you the details. I'll also put the link of my next NLP program, and I'll share that with you, so you can put that in the link as well.
Yes. That's amazing. So now people know where to get, and now they are already aware what they would get or what would be the takeaways. I have personally enjoyed learning NLP, and I'm sure it's a good way if in case you are looking for any of the three things what Mehernosh said. So thank you so much for sharing so many things. It was so very insightful, and I'm sure my audience must have enjoyed it. Before we wind up, the last question to you. So, how did you like our conversation? How was your experience?
Wonderful. It felt like it was a talk in the park with a nice, beautiful background behind it.
Certainly, I got my whole NLP course revised.
Yeah. And a wonderful, like very nice, nice, pleasant conversation.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure speaking to you, Mina.
Same here. And I must tell audience that Mehernosh was one of my trainer in my NLP this one course, and I was so impressed. Since then, I wanted to collaborate with him on something, and I found this platform must be a great idea. And thank you, Mehernosh, so much for taking out time. I know you have been very busy, but still you gave your time, and I'm truly honored to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and wish you all the best. And all the
Thank
best to all of you. Bye. Stay in touch.
Yes, definitely. I will be sharing the details of Mehernosh in the description box. Feel free to connect with him and do check out the upcoming batches.